that brainstorms are 90% bad ideas. You have to know it going into it, that people aren't going to give you the magic idea right out of the gate. You got to wade through all these bad ideas to get to the good ones. Ilya, why don't you give us some tips on how to have an effective brainstorm?
One of the things is to allow team members to do their own research and idea generation practices first after you've given them the briefing. So that way, when you're having the brainstorm itself, the ideas are actually researched. They have some background information. They're not just surface ideas. What I found a lot of times with brainstorms, that happens straight away after briefing, is a lot of people don't know much about the topic. So whereas if you've done some research initially, or each person especially done the individual research, then you have different perspectives as well, and that helps with idea generation. The second tactic or tip that I would recommend is to actually have a note taker, so someone that takes notes and not necessarily participating in the brainstorm. There might be a lot of ideas being generated, and if you kind of stop all the time to take notes of those ideas, the flow is broken. So if there's a person that takes notes, that's a great way to document ideas without interrupting the flow. One of the most important idea for brainstorming is to have a great facilitator. So when you have just a team of people brainstorming, the more confident people might take control. I guess they would, the more outgoing people, might be sort of yelling out more ideas, taking leadership, whereas the more reserved people might be sort of taking back and might not even, they might be discouraged to contribute anything altogether. So a facilitator is a person who'd kind of steer that direction. If the team is getting off track, then they would be kind of pausing that or reframing the question, or also stimulating and generating ideas as well.
Yeah, I think those are great top level. So let me give a couple of ideas on more of a granular level. 4 to 5 people is the magic number. Anything less and there's not enough ideas, and anything more and you have a bunch of wasted people who aren't participating. So 4 to 5 people is a good number to shoot for in a brainstorm. Keeping it to 15 minutes. This is a tough one, especially with talkative designers. But most of the initial ideas are going to come in that first 15-minute span. And then you have to go away from the dry erase board and let your subconscious work on the problem. Let your brain start to connect different ideas that people shouted out during the meeting. It usually isn't effective to sit in a brainstorm meeting for 2 hours, racking your brain trying to come up with ideas. It's more effective to go and do a 15-minute, generate a bunch of ideas in the group, and then take a break for 45 minutes or an hour or a day, and then come back to the table and see what generated in your brain during that break time, because that's when you get a lot of power out of the subconscious mind. 90% bad ideas. This one I love. This I put in my book, Burn Your Portfolio. That brainstorms are 90% bad ideas. You have to know it going into it. That people aren't going to give you the magic idea right out of the gate. You got to wade through all these bad ideas to get to the good ones. So when somebody shares a stupid idea, don't say, hey, that's a stupid idea. You got to hear the stupid ones to be able to get to the good ones. So nothing is a bad idea, because 90% of them are bad ideas, and you just got to kind of wade through that stuff.
I really like that the stupid idea kind of analogy too, is that a lot of times in our brainstorming, what I like to do is provoke. So sometimes it's, humor has been found to be a great idea generation technique. So provoking, whether that's humor or kind of just saying something really bizarre, actually can help trigger really out there innovative ideas as well. So even saying sometimes even saying really crazy stuff just for the sake of other ideas to kind of spawn from it, that's a great way to do as well.
I did a lot of that too, and I use the sarcastic humor style to share those crazy ideas. Last 2 things, the brainstorm ideas belong to the group. Joe never got the idea if Sally didn't give her bad ideas in the first place. So you can't just have Joe walk out of the meeting thinking, I'm the guy, I got this great idea. Well, Joe didn't get it unless everybody else was in that meeting collaborating and sharing ideas too. So they belong to the group. And then the final thing that's really effective is to share the rules before the meeting. When you get into the meeting, say, okay, Jenny is going to be the note taker, John is the facilitator, David is running point on the whatever piece of it. Just share the rules and make sure everybody understands that you're going to be there for 15 minutes, you're going to set a timer, you're going to break, that we're going to go through the bad ideas. Just make sure everybody knows what those rules are before the meeting starts.